Welcome my guzzlers, we're going to do a little baking. Now, here we are in the middle of the English summer, baking hot out there, sun shining, makes me think of Italy. Actually I'm going to Italy soon. By the time you see this I'll have been and gone, come back, but anyway. But we don't want to just do some bog standard Italian cake, so we're going Roman. We're going to make a Roman honey cake. Now, it's very simple. 3 eggs, 200 grams of honey, runny honey, not the old, crystallised one, and 50 grams of spelt flour. Now, if you don't have any spelt flour, that's what the Romans would have used. If you don't have any spelt flour, you can just use ordinary plain flour. The spelt flour I've got is a light spelt, so it's slightly off-white because it's not been bleached or anything like that. Although back then they would have used, brown flour, if you like, because of the husk and everything in it. The whiter it was, the finer it was. The finer, as in terms of, more expensive, if you like, the better. So the higher ranking Romans would have preferred white flour. So if you have to use plain flour, that's fine, use that. But we're going to be using that. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you can use an electric whisk for that, but I'm going old school because we're going Roman. So I'm going to use my big whisk. I've got a bowl. I'm just going to crack them 3 eggs into that bowl. Oh, and you want to put your oven on. You want to put your oven on, and you're going to want to prepare a cake tin. This won't rise much. All the air is going to be from that. So obviously it ain't going to be like a great big thick cake, but you want your oven on at about 170 fan. So like I say, we want to beat these, and we want to beat them well. We want to get a lot of air into this because, like I say, there's no rising agent or raising agent in this. So the only air is going to come from the whisking. So we want to give this a really good whisk. Like I say, if you've got an electric whisk, you can use that. That's cheating, isn't it? At this point, I'm going to start drizzling in the honey. And we want to just keep stirring that in. Gradually mixing it in. And this will thicken it. And we just want to keep getting that air in there. Because when we start putting the flour in, obviously at that point, that's when we can start losing a lot of that air. So this is why you want your cake tin ready and lined, your oven ready, because we put it in the oven and then we want to cook it, and we don't want to lose that air by opening the oven, seeing how it's going, then it'll collapse. And now what we do is we take that 50 grams of spelt flour and we're going to sift that into there, and then we're just going to fold that through, and then sort of as gently as possible get it all in there, but we don't want to lose that air. Pour it into that cake tin that I've prepared there, which you can't quite see. I've put it, because it's got a removable bottom on that one, I've put it into onto a baking tray, and then it's going to go into that oven. Had a little bit of an accident. One of the eggs decided to crack all over the top. You can see actually, because that's quite a natural spelt flour, got it from our bakery bits again. You can see some little bits of husk still in there. So like I say, just want to gently fold all that flour through that mixture till it's all in there, and then we're just going to pour that into that tin. It's probably a lot deeper than it needs to be, but the only other ones I've got are very shallow. So now at this point it goes into that tin. Cocktail stick is coming out clean, so although that's just over 45 and it could take up to 55, we're going to take it out and leave it now. So we just leave it in the tin for 10 minutes and then we're going to transfer it onto a wire rack. Now it has collapsed a little bit, not an awful lot. Like I said, there's no raising agent in it, so it's got nothing to rise. So we're just going to let that cool a little bit more, but it actually tastes better warm. Well, so they say. And also you might want to have a little bit of honey. I've got a little bit over there, just to drizzle over the top when we come to taste it. So I'm just going to let that cool a little bit more and then we'll have a tasting. I've cut a piece off. It's quite weird. It's obviously a bit of separation. Well, I don't know, perhaps it's not separated, perhaps just the way it's cooked. But that very dark exterior, obviously it's not so dark on the inside. It is very moist on the inside, almost a little bit eggy. I suppose for the amount of flour and that's in there, there's a lot of egg. You're getting the sweetness of the honey, and I mean there was a lot of honey in that, but not overpoweringly so. I'm not sure. You could put some honey on top. I haven't. I thought just try it as it is. The outside's a bit chewy. And if I hadn't tested up the cocktail stick, I'd have thought that's slightly underdone. But the cocktail stick come out clean. I think it's just the nature of the amount of egg that's in it. Apart from the sweetness, in all respect, when you get past the crust, as it were, it reminds me a little bit of like eating an egg custard.